Good day, friends, and welcome back to Joko Yo, Johnston County's window into yesterday, where we roll back the years to uncover stories from our red clay roads that capture both hardship and the unbreakable human spirit. I'm Joey, and today's journey takes us to 1932, a time when America was on its knees, but eastern North Carolina farmers found a way to both laugh and fight back at the same time. It begins with a Wayne County tobacco man's quiet act of desperation. It catches fire through a newspaperman's clever ink, explodes into political theater through Selma's streets, and culminates in Johnston County's stunning political about-face during the decade. Just picture mules pulling old car parts, thousands of people cheering, and an entire county flipping its political allegiances. Settle in for a tale of grit, genius, and the power of a well-timed parade. By 1931, 3 years after the crash of 1929, beginning the Great Depression, America had created an entirely new vocabulary to mock President Herbert Hoover. Now, if you recall anything from U.S. history, the Great Depression begins in 1929 after a whole decade of just prosperity, everybody having everything, then nobody had anything. Well, Mr. Hoover had won election and he was being blamed for it, as is the case with presidents. They tend to take the blame or the praise, whether they're due in either case or not. Well, Herbert Hoover's being blamed for the crash, and Hoovervilles, which are sprawling shanty towns of the homeless people, which there are a lot of them at the time, they first began to appear in Thanksgiving weekend 1929 outside of Seattle, Washington. Hoover blankets meant that newspapers wrapped around freezing bodies were supposed to keep people warm through the bitter nights. Hoover hogs, didn't even know about those either, but Hoover hogs were jackrabbits, armadillos, basically roadkill. Hoover flags? Well, that's when people would empty out their pants pockets turned inside out to prove you had nothing left. Hoover Pullmans were the boxcars jammed with hobos riding the rails, and one of the most gruesome ones are Hoover Flyers, people that decide they were better off dead than alive for life insurance purposes, I suppose, by jumping out of skyscrapers. Now, urban America jeered from the city streets. They were mad. But down here in rural eastern North Carolina, farms were foreclosing weekly and cotton was bought at pennies a pound. Folks were too busy surviving to coin phrases. As my grandfather once told me, I asked him if he remembered the Great Depression. He said, no, we was always depressed. Well, too busy to coin phrases until one Wayne County farmer did something so practical, so ingenious, that it demanded a name. His name was Walter Bennett, an ordinary tobacco farmer from Wayne County, staring down some pretty extraordinary times. It was sometime in late 1930, gas cost about 20 cents a gallon, a whole week's groceries. Car tags? Forget it. But the roads still need traveling to Saturday markets, church, visit. Solid wooden buggy wheels pounded your teeth on those washboard clay roads, and there, rusting in his yard, sat a junked Ford that he can't drive because he's got no gas. The rear axle was still perfect. The tires still held air, but they ain't no gas in the tank. Its suspension was intact, but there's no gas in the tank. Now, Bennett was not any kind of engineer. He's just a farmer with eyes and hands. He jacked up that axle, bolted it to an old buggy frame, harnessed a team of mules in the front and the back, took it for a spin. The bumps vanished, tires gripped, the mules trotted smooth. Neighbors saw it rumbling past, and their mouths were wide open. By spring, half of Wayne County was copying the design. Give the tires air, give the mules water. Bennett grinned. No gas stations needed. Spring 1931 rolls around. Goldsboro News-Argus reporter John Roberts spots one of these contraptions clattering through town. The National Hoover mocking lexicon is fresh in his mind, and he sees a scoop, a rural answer to urban Hoovervilles. In print, he dubs it the Hoover Cart. He blames the president for hard times, crowns the mules as hero, and the name sticks like tobacco juice. That's gross. From Fremont to Fountain and into eastern Johnston County, eastern North Carolina goes Hoover Cart crazy because what else you going to do? Fast forward to summer of 1932. Presidential election fever grips the nation. Hoover is about as popular as a tax collector at a barn dance. Franklin Roosevelt campaigns on New Deal hope, and Democrats everywhere are starting to smell victory in this part of North Carolina. Eastern North Carolina leads the Hoover Cart charge. Goldsboro stages the granddaddy of them all, an October spectacle stretching 1.5 miles through town, drawing 10 to 15,000 spectators to come view the Hoover Carts. Contests crown the best decorated cart, the funniest mule team, even a guitar-strumming pedestrian. Signs jeer, Hoover's Prosperity Special, and no gas, no re-election. Mule bands honk. The local economy gets a bit of a boost as folks spend their last dimes on parade food. Wayne County was the birthplace of the Hoover Cart. Naturally, it takes pride of place, but over here in Johnston County, Democratic leaders see their own golden opportunity. If you understand the stakes, through the 1920s, Johnston County stood as a Republican bedrock, that was a pun, in a solidly Democratic South. Warren Harding in 1920 carried Johnston County 6,000 votes to 5,588, a 442-vote Republican edge. Calvin Coolidge held the line in 24. Herbert Hoover swept the county in 28 amid his national landslide, even as farmers were beginning to feel the first tremors of hard times. But by 1932, that depression had broken the Republican dam. Johnston County's farmers couldn't sell their tobacco, couldn't buy seed, couldn't feed their families. Their farms were getting foreclosed upon. And the county's Democratic Executive Committee gathered and saw in those Hoover Carts exactly what they needed. A perfect symbol to rally the countryside of Johnston County, mock the failed president, and flip the county in one mule-powered parade. October 1932, Selma, North Carolina transforms overnight. Farmers polish their axles till they shine. Buggies get festooned with hand-painted banners. Hoover's new model mule, or Mule Power for Roosevelt, or gasless but gutful. Whole families climb aboard, people in their best dresses, children waving handmade flags, farmers grinning through tobacco-stained teeth, and Main Street fills curb to curb. The parade kicks off with a thunder of hooves. Dozens of Hoover carts rumble through Selma, mules snorting and shaking their heads, harnesses jingling like Christmas bells, cushioned axles gliding smooth where wooden wheels would have jarred. Sidewalks overflow with the biggest crowd Selma had ever seen since Armistice Day. Smithfield staged a sister parade through the same month, 10 to 15,000 people strong, a mile-long snake of mules and defiance, and Johnston County all of a sudden turned electric when they couldn't afford real electricity. This wasn't just spectacle, it was strategy. Every Hoover cart rolling down those streets buried Hoover's trickle-down promises a little bit deeper. Every cheer lifted Franklin Roosevelt a little bit higher and a little bit higher. And the whole idea of a Hoover cart caught like wildfire throughout the entire country. Farmers who couldn't afford supper now bought parade peanuts instead, putting a few coins back in the local pockets, and newspapers ate it up. National wires hummed with stories of mule parades proving that rural America had turned against Hoover. Come November, Franklin Roosevelt crushed Hoover statewide, 69% to 30%. Johnston County, the flip was absolutely seismic. 9,574 votes for FDR against 3,887 for Hoover. Basically, Hoover loses 28% to 79 or 70.9%. This was a 5,687 vote Democratic margin, 42-point swing from 1928. 42 points from a landslide for the other guy 4 years before. Those mules, I'd say they delivered. But what about Walter Bennett? Well, he slipped quietly back to his Wayne County fields. No parades for him, no statues, just the satisfaction of a practical solution that worked. His Hoover carts leaped boundaries, appearing as wagons in the Midwest, Bennett buggies in Canada. Harry Truman even revived them for his 1948 whistle-stop campaign against Thomas Dewey. The beauty was simple. Those old car axles turned bone-rattling buggy rides into something smooth. Mules grazed on pasture grass instead of expensive feed, and mule watering troughs began to spring up like crossroads. And no, it's not a coincidence that mule trades went higher in the 1940s, eventually culminating in a holiday that Benson decided to spring up in the 1950s. County fairs began to judge contests not just for decoration, but for mule teams. Speeches from cart platforms, just pure spirit. And this is Selma's deepest truth. Those 1932 streets weren't just a parade route, they marked Johnston County's great pivot. From Republican stronghold from the 1920s, through the Harding-Coolidge and Hoover years, to the Democratic fortress beginning with Roosevelt's mule-powered landslide. Democrats harnessed Walter Bennett's invention and John Roberts' perfect name for them. Farmers drove that revolution home, and drive-through Selma today, filled US 70, hum beneath your tires where those Hoover carts once rolled. You can listen for the ghost of harness bells that echoed the cheering crowds, the dust of mules long gone. Every truck that rumbles through reminds us when Washington fails, Eastern North Carolina improvises. Walter Bennett's Wayne County axle met John Roberts' sharp newsman's eye, found its political home in Johnston County strategy, and thundered through Selma to change history from a single farmer's field in Eastern North Carolina to a county's political soul. Be good. Thank you for riding along with Joe Yo. If you've got a Depression-era story from Johnston County's back roads, I'd love to hear it. Visit Joe Yo on your favorite podcast provider, and I'll share your story. Until next time, remember, sometimes mules pull more than wagons. They pull us forward.